Hey, welcome back to the Big Rant Show. Thank you for joining me. Now today we're going to talk about Ukraine again. Why? Because the last time that I made a video, since then, there's been an invasion by Russia into Ukraine. And much like I suggested in that last video, it was not going to stop at those two nations, or those two separatist areas of Ukraine that Russia had deemed to be independent. But let's talk about what this isn't. Yes, this is a full-fledged invasion of Ukraine. But this is not World War III. I mean, is there a potential for World War III to break out over it? There's always a potential of that when there's a war going on, right? That's always a potential. Now, I don't believe that it's going to happen because I believe it's going to stay between Ukraine and Russia, because I don't believe Vladimir Putin is going to invade or attack a NATO ally. But there is a small caveat to that, which we will get to in a few minutes. But what this is, as I said, is a full-fledged invasion of Russia, from Russia into Ukraine. The Ukrainians have held them off now for 4 days? It's been a crazy past few days. But surprisingly, the Ukrainian military has been holding up pretty well, considering how severely outmatched they are between the Russians and whatever help they're getting, and their lack of military power. Now, Ukraine doesn't have a huge military. They're a peaceful nation. Now, their military has increased in size and strength since 2015 and 2014, back when Crimea was annexed. Because when Crimea was annexed, they literally had no way to fight back. Their military just wasn't big enough to do anything. But over the past few days, they have stood strong, and the nation of Ukraine has not fallen. It is still Ukraine. And Russia is having a hard time getting as far into Ukraine as they want to. Reports are that the Kremlin is getting nervous, that the Kremlin is getting upset, that they are not moving as fast as they should be, according to them. That the reports are that the Russians kind of, are having a very hard time with the Ukrainian military. So, things aren't going well for Russia. Things aren't going well for the Ukrainian people either. Some 100,000 people have already been known to have evacuated the country, becoming refugees in other European nations. When this whole thing started, Vladimir Putin told the people of Ukraine that civilians would not be harmed. That military people that lay down their arms and just join the Russian Federation won't be harmed. That is a lie. That is a pure lie. If you happen to be in Russia and you happen to come across this video, you are being lied to. You will see in one of the pictures that come by here in just a second, on the little loop right there. That is an apartment building that was bombed by the Russian military. Civilians, huh? Civilians will be safe, Mr. Putin? You killed people there. Hundreds possible civilian deaths just on day one. So if you're in Russia and you are seeing this video, know you are being lied to by your state news agency. You are being lied to. Civilians are being murdered by your president. Now, I seriously doubt anybody in Russia will see this video, because Russia has locked down a lot of social media, have locked down, any kind of international news coming in. But if you see this video, share this video. Let the Russian people know that they are not alone and that they are being lied to. The other day there were thousands of protesters in the streets risking, their livelihoods, their lives possibly, in Russia, protesting against this war in Ukraine, because they already know that they're being lied to. They already know that this is bullshit, that there's no reason for this war to be happening. But moving on. The one caveat here that I will give you for the possibility of World War III is there is a part of Russia that is not connected to Russia, that is blocked by Belarus, Lithuania, and Poland, that sits on the Baltic Sea. Early on, there was argument that possibly Vladimir Putin may try to create some kind of land bridge or whatnot to connect Russia, well, not Russia, but its sphere of influence to this area by building creating a land bridge between Poland and Lithuania out of Bulgaria. This is not started yet. This is probably not even going to happen. Why? Because attacking Poland and attacking Lithuania would start a bigger war. He's already having a hard enough time, Vladimir Putin is, of handling the Ukrainian military. Do you think he really wants to spark a 30-nation alliance into attacking him? And there are a number of reasons why NATO is staying out of Ukraine. And they're not fighting for Ukraine. They're sending them weapons, they're sending them money, but they're not fighting in Ukraine. They're not sending troops in. And the main reason is because Ukraine is not part of NATO. In fact, they haven't even joined NATO, right? They've been in talks, been trying to. Russia's been, fighting about it, saying no, it can't happen. It shouldn't be allowed because they're supposed to be controlled by Russia. They're not allowed to make their own decisions. And so NATO gets concerned about that because Russia has nukes. But then the corruption issue that they've had in the past, there can't be certain amounts of corruption in the country. And Ukraine has had issues with corruption in the past. I believe they're working on that. I believe it's a lot better than it was before. But every government has some kind of corruption somewhere. It just matters what kind, I suppose, is going on. So that may be something that would have potentially kept them out of NATO. But also, Zelensky hadn't really directly wanted to join yet, because he was scared that it would spark a conflict with Russia. NATO wanted them to join, but was leery of it. But Ukraine, as much as the people may have wanted to join, some of their leadership wasn't sure of it because they thought this very thing would happen. So no, it's not like NATO can just go into Ukraine. As I mentioned too, in one of my previous videos, the Biden administration and NATO for weeks offered help. Zelensky didn't ask for this help until the bombs were already falling. Lastly, I want to discuss blame. This war it's not Ukraine's fault. It's not the U.S.'s fault. This is Russia's fault. There's only one culprit. There's only one person to blame, and his name is Vladimir Putin. It is not Joe Biden's fault. It is not Donald Trump's fault. It is Vladimir Putin's fault. People say, but Trump tried to cut funding and blah, blah, blah to NATO. Yeah, but it wouldn't have changed what's happening now. Biden didn't cause this. In fact, for the last 2 months, Biden and his administration have been telling the world and telling Ukraine that this was coming. Every step of the way, Joe Biden was correct. Joe Biden was right on every single thing. Now, one facet of this got past Joe Biden. You got Republicans out there wanting to call him Sleepy Joe Biden. But Sleepy Joe Biden has been telling the world for months this was coming. And because of that rhetoric from people like Donald Trump, no one listened to him. Everyone said, oh, he's just crazy. He's just crazy old grandpa. Even the president of Ukraine, Mr. Zelensky, made as if Joe Biden was just wrong. Now, I don't think any American is directly to blame. But I do believe things that some Americans have been saying and doing have parts of the world thinking that Joe Biden isn't legitimate. That Joe Biden is too feeble-minded, even, to be able to be a leader. So could that have led to some people discounting what he had to say on an international stage? Yes. It's very possible. But anybody saying that Donald Trump would have stopped this invasion? No. It wouldn't have happened. In fact, Donald Trump 100% supports the invasion of Ukraine because he believes that they are, that whatever Vladimir Putin says. Because QAnon has told him to. Now, that last topic was supposed to be the end, but this is something that I just remembered. The other day, Tulsi Gabbard posted a tweet saying that if the U.S. and Joe Biden had just listened to Vladimir Putin's complaints about security, of the potential of Ukraine joining NATO, or defenses being put up in European countries that were part of NATO, if we had just listened to his complaints, this wouldn't have happened. It would have. It still would have happened. Tulsi Gabbard, you are an idiot. Either that, or you're the Russian troll that Hillary Clinton has already had deemed you to be before. Remember that thing you sued her campaign for? For saying that you were a Russian operative? Are you sure you're not a Russian operative? Really? I don't ask that as a rhetorical question. Is Tulsi Gabbard a Russian operative? Or if not, why else would she be defending Vladimir Putin and his illegal, unnecessary, unjust war in Ukraine? Calls herself an American. Supporting the Russian president is the least American thing you can do. But that was her claim. Making as if NATO, if Ukraine was to join NATO, American troops would be on the border of Russia. It's not how it works. NATO deploys troops when there is a threat. They do not deploy troops during peacetime. Yes, there would have been missile defense systems, probably, in areas around Ukraine. It's very possible. But if nothing else, at the most, we would have been helping them defend themselves in case of war, not to create war. We would not be sending our troops. Our troops would not be, NATO troops would not just be amassing by the hundreds of thousands in Ukraine. And if this was the case, if Ukraine joining NATO was this problem, why have they never invaded Lithuania? Why have they never invaded Latvia? Why have they never invaded Estonia since they are part of NATO? That's right, because NATO protects them. Russia's complaint here is that they don't have if Ukraine were to join NATO, which if Ukraine survives, Ukraine will become part of NATO. You can bet my bottom dollar on that one. But what they wanted was Ukraine to be unprotected so they could do exactly what they've done. This isn't about security for Russia. This is about the fact that Ukraine is not is not run by a pro-Russian government. Okay? I just want that to be very clear. To the people of Ukraine, I am so sorry this is happening to you. If you can get out, get out. I have heard rumors anyway that there is an entrance that you can take into Poland where you can take your pets as well. So if that's true, take your pets with you. I hope this is over soon. I'm hoping maybe Russia will give up after seeing that they're not going anywhere very quickly. But I'm not too hopeful. But, I don't know what else to say. But the fact that you're under attack, the fact that your kids are having to see war, that your kids are having to be, become refugees in your, even in your own country, I'm heartbroken for you. And I think most Americans are. But with that, may God be with you. We'll be praying for you here. Hopefully the aid that we're offering will get to you in time. Anyways, y'all have a good day. I'll see you down the road.